And welcome, my friend, to lesson 59, a bad first impression that turned out good. We'll be talking about love and feelings, and who doesn't like a great love story, right? Especially if it's a true love story. And in this lesson, you're going to learn about 10 key phrases, 63 new words around the subject of love and feelings. So, with your breathing exercises finished, your power pose struck, let's move on to lesson 59 right now. Lesson 59, a bad first impression that turned out good. Okay, we'll be talking here about love and feelings, an actual true love story. A love story. Have you ever received a Facebook friendship request from someone from thousands of miles away that you have never met? I knew about a couple, how she sent a friendship request to a successful businessman. She was a model and journalist in Bolivia. He was a single entrepreneur living in Mexico. When he saw her Facebook profile picture, he thought she was very pretty. In fact, too pretty, in fact. He thought that may have been a fake profile. So he looked her up and discovered that it was actually her. So he befriended the model, and that's when it all began. They started texting back and forth. Then the texts became audio messages in Messenger and later in WhatsApp. Then they saw each other over the videos. Her voice and her laughter would make him go crazy. His voice and winsome personality attracted her a lot to him. Out of the blue, de la nada, he asked her if she was okay with him stopping by in 2 days to see her. He had a business trip in South America and wanted to see her. She thought it was okay. So he booked a flight, and 2 days later, dot, 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 when he got off the airplane, his heart was beating 1,000 miles per hour. Little did he know, she was about to faint next to her best friend. When he exited customs, she was there. He was there. They smiled and hugged each other. Her best friend later told him that she was about to faint. They got in a taxi cab. The taxi cab driver was the best friend's friend, and they took off to an old restaurant called La Casa Vieja outside of Tarija, Bolivia. The Casa Vieja means the old house. As they came in, the regional tradition, while waiting for the table, was to line up the guests and have each drink a little wine. That region in Bolivia is known for their great wine. Of course, the businessman living in Mexico said he could tame tequila and beer. So Bolivian wine shouldn't be much of a problem. Uh-oh. The model warned him, le advirtió, that their wine is tricky, es engañosa, el vino de ellos, and to be careful. So they placed him at the end of the line of 9 people. The problem was that the last person had to drink all that was left over in the glass, which was more than what the others drank. Again, he was a macho man. And he said that he would be okay with that. After 10 minutes of laughter and wine tasting, their table was ready. And the four of them, plus a couple of other of her friends, came by. The problem was that the wine tasted like grape juice, not like regular wine. The businessman thought it was grape juice, and they ordered more of that sweet tasting wine for the table. Then the food came out. Literally later. Everyone laughed while they interchanged stories, with beautiful live music with guitars going on from table to table. Suddenly, the businessman asked for a guitar and dedicated a beautiful ranchera Mexican song to the beautiful model. Toward the end of the song, however, he noticed how his fingers didn't obey him and his speech was becoming slurred. Estaba balbuceando, slurred speech. Nobody noticed. Nadie se dio cuenta. But he did. He excused himself and went to the restroom. There, he slapped water on his face and yelled at himself for letting Bolivian wine get the best of him early on that evening. As they finished dinner, they went back into the taxi to paint the town red. Irse de fiesta, paint the town red. It was a hot night in Bolivia, and the businessman did what people say one should never do when feeling a bit tipsy. As the taxi was moving, he lowered down the window, and when the warm hair hit his face, yep, you guessed it, the businessman threw up on the model in the back seat. Ay, ay, ay. The model's sister then threw up on the model. And the best friend seated in the front seat threw up on the taxi driver, who stopped the taxi along a lonely highway and he threw up outside of his taxi. Todos vomitaron, menos la modelo. They all got out, except the model, the only one who didn't throw up. She was just laughing and laughing and laughing. They say you never have a second chance to make a good first impression. In dealing with that horrendous disaster, the model and the businessman struck a friendship that later became true love. He bought everyone new clothes, paid the taxi cab driver extra for having to deep clean the taxi because of the vomit, and nobody ever forgot how the worst introduction ever became a forever love. And the type of story they'll tell their children and grandchildren for generations to come. I can't say the end, but I will say the beginning. Okay, let's look at some of the words that we learned here. Friendship request, pedido de amistad de la Facebook. A businessman, un empresario. A model, una modelo. She's a journalist, es periodista también. He thought it was a fake profile, pensó que era un perfil falso. But he befriended her, pero entabló amistad con ella. Her voice would make him go crazy. Su voz hacía que se volviera loco. He had a winsome personality. Tenía una personalidad encantadora. Out of the blue, de la nada, pidió que la fuera a visitar. So he took a trip, tomó un viaje. His heart was beating 1,000,000 miles per hour. Su corazón estaba latiendo 1,000,000 de millas por hora. But little did he know, poco sabía él, that she was about to faint, que ella estaba a punto de desmayar, faint, desmayar. He exited the plane, salió del avión, took off, despegaron, salieron, about to, a punto de. The tradition was, la tradición era, pero he can tame beer and tequila. Él puede domar el tequila y la cerveza, domar, tame. Pero el vino boliviano es tricky, es que engañoso, ten cuidado. So they placed the businessman at the end of the line. Colocaron al empresario el fin de la línea. And he would have to drink the leftover, tenía que tomarse las sobras. In the midst of laughter, en medio de risas, he thought it was actual grape juice. Pensó que era jugo de uvas, el de lo dulce que era. He thought, él pensó. They ordered it for the table, ordenaron para la mesa. They interchanged stories, intercambiaron historias. Suddenly, de repente, toward the end, hacia el fin, he noticed, se dio cuenta. His speech was blurred. Comenzó a balbucear. He noticed, se dio cuenta. He slapped water on his face, salpicó agua en su cara. He yelled at himself and he hit himself on the face. Se gritó a sí mismo, también se pegó en la cara. ¿Cómo pudo permitir? How could he allow that Bolivian wine would get the best of him? Que el vino boliviano iba a tomar lo mejor de él tan temprano. They were going to paint the town red. Iban a salir de fiesta. Tipsy, estaba entonado. Lowered the window. Oh. Bajó la ventana. And guess what happened? Adivina qué pasó. Yep, you guessed it. Lo adivinaste. He threw up on the model. Él vomitó sobre la modelo. Y su hermana vomitó sobre la modelo. Y la amiga vomitó al taxista. El taxista paró, el taxista se le fue. Y él comenzó a vomitar. No bueno. No bueno. Front seat, silla de frente. Pasajera. Lonely highway, una autopista solitaria. Excepto, salvo. Impression, impresión. They say you never get a second chance. Dice que no vas a tener una segunda oportunidad to make a good first impression, para hacer una buena primera impresión. Dealing, tratando con. Horrendous, horrorosa. Struck a friendship, entablaron una amistad. True love, amor verdadero. Bought, les compró a todos. Forever, un amor para siempre. Y les van a decir esta historia para generations to come. Les van a decir esto a generaciones venideras. ¿Qué les pareció esa historia? Es muy verdadera y la conozco muy personalmente. Y no digo nada más. Okay, so lesson 59. Repeat after me. Have you ever received a Facebook friendship request? From someone from thousands of miles away that you have never met? Number 2. She was a model and journalist in Bolivia. He was a single entrepreneur living in Mexico. Number 3. He befriended the model. And that's when it all began. Dot, dot, dot. Number 4. Her voice and her laughter would make him go crazy. His voice and winsome personality attracted her a lot to him. Number 5. The problem was that the last person had to drink all that was left over, which was more than what others drank. Again, he was a macho man And he said that he would be okay with that. Suddenly, the businessman asked for a guitar and dedicated a beautiful ranchera song to the beautiful model. Toward the end of the song, he noticed that his fingers didn't obey, and his speech was becoming slurred. Number 8. There he slapped water on his face and yelled at himself for letting Bolivian wine get the best of him. Number 9. He threw up on the model in the back seat. The model's sister then threw up on the model. And the best friend seated in the front seat threw up on the taxi cab driver. Nobody ever forgot how the worst introduction ever became a forever love. All right. Woo, okay, let's get through this one. Repeat after me. Friendship, request, businessman, model, journalist, fake profile, befriended, go crazy, winsome personality, out of the blue, trip, beating, little did he know, faint, exited, took off, about to, tradition, tame, tricky, placed, line, leftover, laughter, grape juice, thought, ordered, interchanged, stories, suddenly, toward the end, speech, slurred, noticed, slapped, face, yelled, the best of, paint the town red, tipsy, lowered the window. You guessed it, threw up, front seat, lonely highway, accept, impression, dealing, horrendous, struck a friendship, true love, bought, forever, generations to come. He noticed. Y de este modo termina nuestra video lección. Escribe un comentario abajo de qué fue lo que más te impactó de esta clase. Y no olvides de invitar a tus amigos, a tu familia, a que también saquen provecho de estas 45 horas de coaching en inglés completamente gratis. Y por favor regálame un like a este video si aprendiste algo nuevo. Suscríbete a nuestro canal de YouTube de NuParla y toca la campanita para que no te pierdas ninguna sesión de coaching de inglés que estaremos sacando en el futuro. Esto me ayuda grandemente a poder traer estas 90 videolecciones, 45 horas de enseñanzas de inglés completamente gratis para ti y para los tuyos. Y recuerda que por un pago único de solo $49.95 puedes obtener todas las herramientas súper avanzadas de NuParla, incluyendo regalarle toda la experiencia completa a un amigo o una amiga tuyo o tuya. Y en tu nombre yo le voy a regalar a un huérfano de tu ciudad, de tu país, toda la experiencia igual completa. Así que vas a ver todos los 12 beneficios en un video que aparece aquí arriba. Son los mejores $49 que jamás hayas invertido, te lo prometo. Así que de parte de todo mi equipo aquí en NuParla, thank you for learning English with us. Nos vemos en la siguiente videoclase. Chao for now.